Okay, welcome to Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. And now, here's your host, once again, warm welcome for the Voice of Doom. Alright. Thank you. Thanks for all that warm applause. I appreciate that. I wanted to finish up that trilogy that I was doing about war and wrap that up. Move on to something else. Did I get my notes? Probably not. That's great. I do it from the top of my head. Alright. 3 things I wanted to do to finish up this symposium. And I wanted to finish up the history of war and have a little coda, addendum, or whatever you want to call it, to that. Finish it up. Then I wanted to predict where the next U.S. conflict will occur. And I know that's just going to piss everybody off, so I'm not banned. After that, my third thing will be to try to give a few suggestions on how we can, stop war once and for all. Little tips. So let's start with the addendum, coda. I was talking about war and how it affected me and how the world, has been, how military-industrial complex, economy is based on, weaponry. And so I kind of ended with Afghanistan and kind of left on a sour note because, things don't look good there. At any rate, I wanted to add one more thing. It occurred to me after I was finished, is most people don't know this, but America is not the only country on this planet. I know it's weird to think about, but there's actually other countries out there, and they do their share too, and they have their troubles, and we don't even care about them half the time or hear about them. So I don't want to poo-poo everybody else, just America's, wars are the important ones, and everybody else is like, whatever. It runs both ways. We say, America beat Iraq. America beat Afghanistan, whatever country you want to call it. And it's like, it's all like it was all America. And it's like, no, if you look at your books or whatever you guys read nowadays, the UN or, coalitions, that's what we've been doing for the last 20, 30 years. We don't go to war alone. We get all these other countries together. So there's people from England, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, all kinds of countries that join in on these coalitions. So, America won. It's like, come on. Let's try to be fair a little bit. And there are things going on. So even though America's, at peace with the world right now, there's other things happening, and there's big things happening. So to say that, out of sight, out of mind, it's like, I got rid of cable 5 months ago. I don't know when, but got tired of paying that bill, and we weren't even getting much for it. A lot of infomercials, and we didn't watch it half the time, and then let's get rid of cable. All right, fine. So we don't have cable. And kind of weird for a while, and then just get used to it. I'm listening to the radio. I'm back in 1962, whatever. And then suddenly I realize that my kid is watching all kinds of stuff on the big screen. And it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I hooked the computer up to the TV. Got the PlayStation hooked up to the TV set, and I'm watching some movie or something. Like, you could have told me that we could still be watching stuff. So, I knew about YouTube, but it never really occurred to me to, actually use it for, entertainment. So I started using YouTube, getting on and checking out the news. It's like, I like to watch the news. I can't watch it without cable. I'll listen to their talk radio. And I realized after getting a little bit bored with American news places, of which there's very few, looking at foreign news places. Couldn't understand a word they were saying, but it's kind of interesting. Now, there was some in English, and India, the gravitas is pretty informative. It's pretty damn good. And some of these other stations, Sky News, Australia. I mean, Australia's worried about war. I mean, they're worried about getting blown up by China, and we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs with transgender bathrooms or some such. So, they're worried. They're probably looking at us like we're out of our minds. But I want to acknowledge all those other countries. I know you're out there, and I know you're watching, and I don't want to piss you off, because I've probably pissed off enough people already. So I'm going to end it there. I did find this one newspaper. Told you I was going to find one where we won headline. So I found this. It's interesting to you. It's ceasefire in effect. All these guys are in suits now, not in pajamas. They all got their suits on, signing the peace treaty. Lasted about a year and a half, 2 years. And then we had that. 2 years later, it's over. Troops pouring into Saigon. It was brilliant. Kind of a waste of time and money and lives. We won't speak of such things. I'm going to leave it at that with war. I can talk more. I really kind of like getting into that economical dependence we have on weaponry, because I think that's kind of the key to our troubles and our woes. But I want to get on to the other two subjects, because that could take a little bit of time. So this next thing is going to really irritate people. Predict what our next war is going to be. What you're thinking, I know what he's going to say. I'm going to just cut to the chase. I hate to say it, but from my analysis, the next war is going to be on the U.S.-Mexico border. And I'll tell you my reasoning. I heard on the radio, no, not radio, I heard on the computer or YouTube or one of the news channels, they're just talking matter-of-factly. They're just saying, well, the cartel runs the border. It's like it's nothing. Like it's no big deal. Everybody knows the cartel runs the border. Like, I like that cartel. It's a great term. Sounds like some consortium of high-minded, rich nabobs who are getting together in this cartel, and they're going to do a lot of good for people. Yeah, they call themselves the cartel. Sounds respectable. Kind of like evil scum, but, you gotta have compassion. You don't want to get racist. Hey, you're calling all Mexicans evil scum. Come on. Let's start with that. You want to solve a problem or you want to be an idiot? So, the cartel's in control of the border. Now, here's the three things that I think are going wrong with that. They're smuggling illegals over the border, which isn't bad enough. I mean, it's bad. Probably just a ruse. They sneak in people over here so they can sneak in something else over there. They're running the border. I mean, that should be unacceptable. I don't even know why I have to talk about this. They're shipping in fentanyl, killing people, probably making millions. Now, all right, I know these coyotes are making a few thousand off each head. They're probably vetting everybody who's going to come in and who's not. We got nothing to do with it. They're making thousands of dollars every day. Now, with the fentanyl and then human trafficking, they're probably raking in billions. I mean, their overhead is very low. They don't follow the generally accepted accounting principles. So a lot of their profits just go right into their pocket. I mean, they have so much money, I'm sure they've gotten tired of buying gold change, so they're probably turning their sights on buying weaponry. I mean, that's what I'd do. I'd organize. I'd get a regimented army going, private army. Buy lots of arms from all kinds of people. So that's what I thought when I heard that the cartel took over. Second thing that happened that was kind of disconcerting, even though some people might think it's good, is I heard that a lot of states are sending over their militias and state guards to the border to help out. And I thought, well, maybe they need the help because the feds are overwhelmed and they're not doing a whole hell of a lot either. They're not going to want to do a whole hell of a lot for some ungodly reason. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get into the border on another episode because it's absurd. And the arguments are, I mean, it'd be really charitable to say they're moronic. Oh, I get so mad at that. That's when I'm going to really rant and rave and get angry. So, these two things going on. Cartels making billions, militias marching to the border, and a federal government that's dragging its feet and trying to stymie things. They don't really want anything to change. They just like chaos, apparently. So, the worst possible scenario that I can come up with is there's some sort of an incident eventually. One of these militias are going to fire on some cartel guys, or some cartel guys are going to pull some guerrilla, raid on something, or maybe they're going to encroach in some unincorporated land. I mean, there's billions of ways that this could go sour. Billions. And then we're going to have, just like a Vietnam, because it's going to be these ragtag militia type things, state guards with local police and all these other organizations, grouping up into tribes against this cartel. And meanwhile, you have innocent people wandering around the river, just wandering through, back and forth, like whatever. It's like Disneyland. And, nothing good can come of that. Now, the worst is when the feds decide that they don't want the local militias doing anything about this, and then we have a civil war. So that's the way that's going to play out. I hate to say it, I really hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but that's the way it's going to happen. And we got to do something. It's not racist to say we got to do something, because nobody's going to gain from this, least of which the people trying to come to America, for a new life. They're the last people that are going to benefit. They're going to be caught in the crossfire. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be ridiculous. So how do we end war once and for all? We have about 3 minutes. That's plenty of time. First of all, we're not going to end war anytime soon because we're too far gone. We can't even talk to each other. I mean, the sides that are on the same side can't talk to each other, so forget about it. But as long as we're at war, I think we should just really be at war. If we're going to declare war, or if we're going to say we're going to do something, just pound this crap out of them and get it done quickly. That's one thing I liked about Reagan, is this guy Gaddafi was a thorn in our side for years. Just a tin pot dictator, dipweed, always causing trouble, always, organizing or funding terrorists, shooting passenger planes out of the sky. We started to get sick of it. And so Reagan just bombed the shit out of his house. And he had it was a win-win situation. Either you kill the guy outright, or you just traumatize him for life. And a bunch of his relatives were killed, and he didn't die, but he was traumatized for life. And we didn't hear a whole hell of a lot from Gaddafi after that. In fact, he kind of became cooperative right up until they dragged him out of his house by his heels face down and stomped him to death. But that's another story. We don't want to get into that. I think use force and be very firm about it. And, if you can take out the leader, that's a very good way to do it, because then the next leader is going to think twice before, sending some goon squad over to Egypt to kill the president or whatever they do. So, that's that. The ultimate solution to war is not going to happen. Nobody's going to do it, but I'll tell you. Every single person on the planet has to take a good long look at himself and decide whether his life is creating any value. Is what I'm doing creating value for myself, or for my family, or for my friends, society, the environment? If you can look yourself into the eye, if you're in the desert, I don't know, maybe there's a puddle somewhere, but if you can look yourself in the eye and say, yeah, I'm creating value. I'm doing the right thing. And we all know what the right and wrong is. I don't care if you're a ISIS guy. I mean, they knew cutting off heads wasn't right. So don't be, what do we do? No, everybody on the planet has to reflect on the ultimate reality of life. Once they do that, they'll suddenly realize that these wars are really a waste of time and stupid. We'll start to get along. So it's as simple as that. In 15 minutes, not bad. I got everything done. I feel better now, so that epic 3-part series is done. Next thing, I'll get into something else. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Toodaloo, guys. Thanks for everything, and enjoy the day.